Hi, everybody. I am so excited to finally be talking about our second round of book selections for our book club. Last month, we read Richard Osman's Thursday Murder Club. Thank you to everybody who joined my first live for the book club. I was a little bit nervous for my first live, but I was really happy with how the conversation and the rhythm went. So if you were able to attend that, let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it and if you have any suggestions for this round. So I'm very excited for this month's selections. One of the books was in last month's selection. One is a book I would have never thought I would be interested in, yet it's here and I've actually already started reading it. And there are a couple more that I'm also very excited about. So summer is here, so I wanted some sort of a summer read. And I also wanted to choose books that I already had. I can be a pretty impulsive shopper and I get very excited about things and I go down rabbit holes, as many of my fountain pen friends here can probably relate to. But because there are so many novels that have piqued my interest and that I've picked up along the way and haven't gotten to, I really wanted to lean into some of those for this month's selection. So if you are new to my book club, sorry, Lumpy is like on my lap here and I'm so afraid he's gonna hit the camera. If you're new to our book club here at Time with Tata, my name is Lori Tata. Welcome to the book club. I read inconsistently. Sometimes I'll do like 2 or 3 books in a summer. Other times I'll go a year without reading. Sometimes I'll read 6 books in a year. And I wanted to get book club off the ground as a way to motivate me to stay on top of reading, because it really does bring me joy. It's a time when I will stop scrolling the internet to just unwind and escape to a different place. I also love to listen to audiobooks. And for a long time, because I was an audiobook listener, I was like, well, I'm not really a reader. I just listen to audiobooks. And I have just completely abandoned that way of thinking, because however we consume our novels is fantastic. Whether we are listening, whether we are reading. I am like self-diagnosed ADD, so I actually like to do both. I will often read the book and download the Audible and read a little bit at night. And then when I'm putting my makeup on in the morning, as I did today, listen to the Audible. On our drives back and forth from Boston to home, I will also listen to Audible books. So by having book club, I knew that it would hold me accountable to at least read the books that we have selected through book club. And my audience here kind of serves as a push for me. And I love that. And I also love your feedback. I love the selections we make together. So without further ado, let's jump in and talk about this month's selection. So the way that it works is I will give 5 books that we can choose from, and then you let me know in the comments which book you would like to read. I tally everything up, and then we select a winner. Once we decide on the book, I will post it here on YouTube in the community tab, and then I will also post to Instagram. So definitely follow me over on Instagram at Time with Tata. Then we set a date about a month from the time that this video goes live. We get together in the evening and we have a live book club. So I will be on YouTube live on my Time with Tata channel and we will discuss the book. We really had a great time last month and I look forward to building this up on my channel. So let's jump into this month's selection. So the first book that I have selected is Elin Hilderbrand's Golden Girl. Elin Hilderbrand is a local author who writes about life on Nantucket Island. I discovered her actually just recently last summer when my daughter was working on Nantucket Island. I went into one of the local bookshops. There was an entire section dedicated to Elin Hilderbrand, and I ended up getting an autographed copy of Golden Girl. I was all geared up to read this book. I ended up leaving it at my daughter's apartment for the entire summer, and I came home all excited to read it and realized I didn't have it. Elin Hilderbrand also wrote the book The Perfect Couple. So you may remember that series. I think it was on Netflix with Nicole Kidman. It was fantastic. Loved that. But then the book that I finally did read was Hotel Nantucket, which I really enjoyed. I wanted to add this Golden Girl book to our potential read for the summer. Just recently, we put all new carpets in my kids' bedrooms. And when we were doing the carpet in Angelina's room, she's living in Spain for a couple more weeks. The kids come home very soon. When we were installing mopping the carpet there, I saw a stack of books in her room, and I found this book, and I said, oh my gosh, I've been looking for this book for like a year. So I knew in that instant that this was going to be one of our choices. In Hotel Nantucket, there was a little bit of a supernatural element to it. There was a ghost in the story, which tied in really well to the main story of Hotel Nantucket. In this story, the main character is an author of beach novels. She's written 13 novels, and she is killed in a hit and run. Once the main character, Vivian, dies, she goes to the beyond, they call it. She's assigned to a person called Martha, and she's able to view everything that's happening for one final summer from beyond. Vivi is also granted 3 what they call nudges to change the course of the way things are happening on Earth. So she's kind of zoning in on her children, and it sounds like maybe she's going to guide them in a certain direction. So this book too ties in the supernatural, which I think is kind of an interesting thing for a beach read. On Goodreads, it has a 4.16 rating with over 165,000 ratings and 10,950 reviews. Beautifully uplifting and exceptionally powerful story, faithful readers have come to depend on Hilderbrand's top-notch escapist fiction, which puts lively, dramatic new spins on families challenged by love and loss. Golden Girl will exceed their expectations. I thought this sounded like fun, so this is choice number 1, Elin Hilderbrand's Golden Girl. Okay, next up is a revisit from one of the novels that I had recommended last month, and that is William Martin's Back Bay. I have started this on Audible already. So Back Bay is the neighborhood that I live in Boston. It's near and dear to my heart. We just bought a condo there in December, and I can't believe we've been there for 6 months. But we've been going back and forth between this house and the condo in Boston and really enjoying the season of our life. Boston, as you know, is rich with so much history. So I was looking for a book that was about the Back Bay. This book was the first one that popped up. It follows this prominent family called the Pratt family from the time of Paul Revere to present day. So it follows the Pratt family for 6 generations. It deals with power and greed. There is a treasure that was a gift from Paul Revere to George Washington that is lost. And that is what the mystery is that surrounds this novel. I love stories about families that crosses over the generations. So this is a little bit of time travel. So you're going to be back in the late 1700s in the early 1800s when the Back Bay neighborhood came to be. And then you're going to be in present day. There is a journalist who is interviewing the Pratt family. They have a deep secret that he's trying to uncover by going through some of the journals of their ancestors. Some people in the family are more secretive than others. It's been really interesting so far. Definitely a lot more history than I initially thought was going to be in the book, but I'm just getting started. So this is a great option. I really enjoy the historical fiction piece of this, and I'm definitely a little partial to it taking place in the Back Bay. So the book is actually in Boston, and I'm listening to the Audible of it. I'll put a picture of it up here. It is The Back Bay by William Martin. Because I said I was going to include a classic in the choices for this month, this is a book I have not purchased. I wanted to only purchase it if it gets selected. And because I kind of have a thing for Jane Austen books, I like to get really beautiful copies of them. So the book that I am choosing for a classic this month is Emma by Jane Austen. Emma was Jane Austen's 4th novel and the last novel that was actually published while she was still alive. It takes place in a fictional village called Highbury, I believe. The story is about a clever and wealthy young woman by the name of Emma Woodhouse, who is a bit of a matchmaker to the friends in her neighborhood, and she meddles in their business. It sounds a bit like a coming-of-age story where she has some misguided relationships, and it sounds like her love interest was the one who was right in front of her the whole time. I know nothing about Emma. I read Pride and Prejudice and absolutely loved it. I did not get through Persuasion, and then somebody recommended that Emma would be a good second choice. I would love to continue exploring Jane Austen novels. So Emma is the one that I've chosen, but I did not purchase that one unless it gets picked. Let me know in the comments if Emma is your choice. Okay, the next book that I have is one that has been hanging around my house for a while. It's been on my list to read. It's called The Tenant by Katrine Engberg. This is a classic police detective mystery. It takes place in Copenhagen. A young woman is found brutally murdered in her apartment, and the detectives sense a connection between the woman who was murdered and her landlady. The landlady is also a budding novelist, and it sounds like there are some parallels between the woman who's been murdered and the unfinished story that the landlady is writing. So it's unclear if she is a suspect or if she is a victim in some weirder thing that's happening around this murder. So the detectives have to figure that all out. So I love a good whodunit, and I wanted to have a solid crime mystery type of book in the lineup. And this has been on my bedside table for so long. So if you are up for a good crime mystery, then you will vote for The Tenant by Katrine Engberg. And please let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. Let me look at the ratings on this on Amazon. Okay, this has a 4.1 out of 5 rating. Customers find this mystery book well plotted with many twists and turns, and one review describes it as an enjoyable, gripping, dark mystery. Moreover, the book receives positive feedback for its character development, readability, and setting, with one customer noting its perfect setting in Copenhagen. However, the pacing receives mixed reactions, with some finding that it fast-paced while others say it's slow. Additionally, the writing quality and predictability also gets mixed reviews. So that's on Amazon. Seems like a good read. This is selection number 4. The last selection is one that is so not my thing and actually took me the most by surprise. This came highly recommended by a friend. And then that same friend sent me a reel from Mel Robbins, who wrote Let Them, who was raving about this book series. The genre is fantasy, which is a genre that I rarely am interested in. I loved Harry Potter. I enjoyed the Twilight series back in the day. But outside of that, I'm not like a Star Wars girl. I'm just typically not into fantasy. But my friend raved about this so much that I had to give it a try. And again, when I was cleaning my daughter's room, I happened to come across the first book in the series. So I took that as a sign. I actually read about 25 pages before bed last night, and I really liked the writing. So I am going to give this a go. Can anyone guess what it is? It's really hot right now. It's by Sarah J Maas, and it is A Court of Thorns and Roses. This is the first in the series. Now, I said that I wasn't going to purchase any books for this round, but as many of you know, I am a reseller, typically with women's clothing. But whenever there's something in question, I always look up the value. So my girlfriend who recommended this book is also a thrifter and reseller herself. And when I showed her that I found this book in Angelina's room, she's like, Lori, that is the first edition of the paperback book from 2016. She said some of those books are selling for $30 to $50, $60 online. So I looked, and sure enough, some of the comps are in that price range. So then I looked on Amazon at the cost of the entire series of this book. And the entire series, which is 5 books, was only $36 on Amazon. So I called my daughter, I asked her what she thought of the book, and then I asked her if she would be interested in reading the whole series with me, because this is a huge commitment. A, because it's 5 books and I'm not the most avid reader, and B, because I'm not really into fantasy, but everybody says that it just keeps getting better. So I have personally committed to reading the first 3 books, and after that, we will see. But my friend says book 2 and 3 are phenomenal. So I'm really excited to give this a try. Please let me know if you have read this series yet, or at least the first book in the series. So I am planning to sell this version, and hopefully it will sell for about $30. And that will cover the cost of the entire series, which arrived this morning between 4 and 8 a.m. So there are literally 46,000 reviews on this book, and the overall review on the first book in the series is 4.8. My apologies. The 4.8, 46,000 reviews was on the entire series. This first book has a 4.6 review with 285,000 reviews. So I am convinced this has got to be a good one. I see a lot of books that come in at like 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.8 is pretty impressive. I am going to give this book a try. My friend calls it fairy smut. I hear that it is pretty steamy, so that I just should probably let you know. My friend said that this book series has changed her life. I'm like, seriously? How impactful can a series really be? So out of sheer curiosity, I had to give this book a try. I am actually reading Back Bay and this no matter what. If these books aren't voted for, I will happily read any of the other books that were put in the lineup today. But I actually did get a jump start this month and started to read this book and the Back Bay. So I'm feeling really good. If we have a whole month, I'm pretty confident I can get 3 books read if I need to. I'm very excited about all these selections, and summer is here. We're traveling a little bit, so I know I have a plane ride. I am going to be able to catch up on some reading on that. Oh, also, there is a dramatic Audible version of this story, which I actually did download. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes I like to read and also listen. So this is what I was listening to this morning. So you can get a regular Audible version, which is narrated by usually one person, or you can get this dramatic Audible, and this is what Mel Robbins was talking about in her reel. There is an entire cast of characters. There is music in the background. It's as if you're in a movie theater, but you're listening to the movie. It has all the sound effects. It's really impressive. So I actually listened to the free sample of both of them because I'm like, if it's not that good, I'm just going to get the regular version, because it actually takes 2 credits on Audible to listen to the dramatic version. And again, I probably wouldn't have invested all of this if my daughter wasn't also going to be enjoying this with me. But I had like 6 credits on Audible because our family is subscribed to Audible. So I had a couple to spare. So I decided to download the first Audible in the dramatic form. I'll try to leave some links below. I was up late last night reading the first 2 chapters, really enjoyed it. Yeah, I think we have some fun books this month. And I'm happy that I was able to recycle some of the books that had been hanging around the house. So be sure to comment below which of the 5 books you are most interested in. Number 1 is Elin Hilderbrand's Golden Girl. Number 2 is William Martin's Back Bay, which is in Boston right now, and I'm really enjoying it. Number 3 is Jane Austen's Emma. She's our classic for the month. Number 4 is Katrine Engberg's The Tenant. This is our whodunit mystery, murder, crime, detective story. And last up is Sarah Maas's Court of Thorns and Roses. I feel like I'm all over the place this month. We have fantasy, we have classic, we have murder, we have a beach read. I think it's a really fun, broad base. And I was thinking about doing the second book in the Thursday Murder Club, because a lot of people recommended that as well. But I don't know, I just went off in a different direction. And like I said, I was more motivated by the books that I had in my house, even though I ended up buying this series for my daughter and I am going to sell this one, and hopefully, that will cover the cost of these 5 books. So that was my reasoning behind that. And if Emma gets voted for, I'm going to go find a really beautiful version of that book as well. So I'm very excited for book club this month. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification if you want to be notified. That's very helpful. If you're wondering when the video is going to come out, if you have the bell notification on, you'll be notified every time I post a video. And I realize I never did a video about setting up a reading journal. I'm really in this journey right now with my journaling. I'm an avid journaler, but I'm always so torn between having really beautifully aesthetic notebooks and journals and then just doing things that are practical. And I think I'm leaning towards the more practical reading journal. I just didn't know if it was going to be pretty enough to share with all of you, but I promise I am going to do that. If you want something a little bit more aesthetic, there are plenty of ways to set up your reading journal that are beautiful. They're going to be so much nicer than what I have to share, but I do want to share my version with you. But I'm going to tally up what everybody says. I'm going to do a post over on Instagram with the books that I have selected. I will post the book that has the most votes by Friday the 13th. So that is our deadline. That gives everybody a few days to vote, whether you're on Instagram or YouTube, and I will tally it all up. We'll have it by Friday night. So then that way we can start reading for the weekend, and we will have a full month to read whichever book is chosen. Okay, that is all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you'll consider joining book club. I will see you back real soon with another video.